What I want to know about mitigation strategies is what are the trade-offs and synergies involved when we are dealing with sustainable development goals, especially with energy access goals.
What I want to know about NDCs is how is it consistent with sustainable development goals, because it's kind of hard to implement if you choose a climate policies which is against development targets.
I'm looking into the alignment of sustainable development goals and decarbonization targets for India using hybrid modeling.
One of the reasons I came here is to know how NDC modeling can fit in the international climate negotiations, and also in the other way around. How can international climate negotiation can help scientists and modelers in their aggregation work?
What I want to know about the mitigation strategies is how the developing countries will finance them in a sustainable way.
Interested to explore are the difficulties and synergies in monitoring NDCs, comparing the national to global perspectives.
In my research, I want to address the issue of mitigation in Brazil and how do Brazil's issue interact with other countries.
What I want to know about NDCs is how NDCs are translated into national policies, and if there's more than one policy instrument implemented, how this affects the success or the failure of reaching the target of the NDCs.
My research is about assessing circular economy policies in China.
What I'm very interested in is to gain a better understanding on how we can better implement energy policies in our modeling efforts.
My research is about assessing the economic impact of mitigation action in Indonesia, and now I'm focusing about in agriculture and forestry and land use chains.
I try to find out the carbon level, the carbon price level, to pick the carbon dioxide emission in China, and then assess the carbon leakage according to the carbon price.
My interest is how different shareholders see different mitigation technologies and how our modeling work is affecting them.
So, what I'm interested in is trying to understand the effects or the effectiveness of energy policy at the national or local level. So, for example, one area that I think is really interesting and that I've been looking at is trying to understand whether increased penetration of electric vehicles and policies that encourage that increased penetration are actually good for CO2 emissions mitigation.
So my research scope or interest would be actually looking at the demand side and also supply side of scenarios, because I think that is very important for a developing country nowadays.
The three topics of my research are equity, economic growth, and environmental policies. So with my research, I want to answer the questions of what pathways and how can we all grow economically together and on an environmentally correct way.
About mitigation strategies, I would like to know how to make them global and profitable to everyone.
There are so many things to know about climate mitigation strategies. I am specifically, interested how this climate mitigation strategies actually influence human daily life.